So without further ado, let me introduce our guest, Mr. Edward James Olmos and Mr. Lou Diamond Phillips. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being here. I know this isn't your first time here. I know you were here 9 years ago or so. I spoke with you then. I assume you've been to San Antonio before, have you?
Well, yeah, I was here a few years ago at the Alamo City Comic Con.
Okay, yeah.
But I grew up in Corpus Christi.
Oh,
so, I've been to San Antonio many times. And a lot of dear friends are still living here.
And that was a big destination. If you're in San Antonio, go to Corpus for this fun time.
Oh, you spring breakers, go to our beaches and do unspeakable things in the sand dunes.
Without discussing particular titles, the two of you are in two separate and together generational films for San Antonians, and I think you know which ones they are. If you had a VCR in the 80s, there was a certain biographical rock and roll film that you, Lou, were in that I think we all saw many times, and then of course another biographical film that you, Mr. Olmos, were in the 90s that, again, movies that are near and dear to the hearts of everybody in this crowd, I assume, right? And please correct me if I'm violating any sort of protocol here, talking about specific things. But I mean, just the things that these roles meant to the people in this room, I think, can't be understated, especially for people that grew up in this city. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm rambling on, but yeah, thank you for being here. So, like I said, we're going to open up the floor to questions. Is there anything in particular, that we, like I said, there's some things in particular we can't answer, can't necessarily talk about, correct?
Yeah, I think everyone's aware of the SAG strike, right? Yeah. Everybody knows that SAG has been doing great work and trying to make it so that the industry and all of us live a better life, and not just some of us.
Right.
So I'm very grateful that our union is so strong and has been able to create kind of energy base for all of us, all over the country and around the world. There's SAG members from the world that are striking with us. So I think they're going to come out hopefully next week.
Yeah, hopefully so. I think they're talking this week, and I think we owe a huge debt to the writers. You know, the writers stood strong, and they have certainly fought hard on AI and ownership and how the streamers need to be a little more forthcoming about the profit participation. And they have set a template that I hope the SAG will follow. Obviously, there's certain overlap, but there are concerns that are very specific to the acting profession, and they'll hammer those out. But I don't think they have to reinvent the wheel thanks to what the writers have done.
Yeah, I was in the past couple of weeks, and hopefully this SAG strike is also resolved with a fair contract for everyone involved. Again,
It won't be resolved unless.
Oh yes,
fair.
of course, right.
Trust me, not this time.
Right.
The world has changed, everybody. We know it. From AI to democracy, all the politics, religion, everything is really changing very quickly. And I think that people have to understand that it's up to us to really use kindness, love, use friendship, use ability to talk with one another, even though we have different divided in such a strong way now, and it's up to us as human beings. I think conventions like this, I love conventions. It's like love fests, huge love fests, and people criticize them, the people who have never done them or feel that it's beneath them to come and do a convention. What are you talking about? Are you kidding? I've spent so much beautiful time with all of you, and I take time, and we have time to sit there and talk. People come by. How many have been by my thing? Great. There've been 3 of us. Great. 4. Good. Hopefully there'll be more. 5. Yeah. 6.
This is the opportunity to sell yourselves.
I am selling myself, man.
You've been, everyone.
But if you, there's unbelievably difficult to do anything, really anything, when you're not in this kind of format. This is like the ultimate, where I get to look at you, I get to say thank you to you for allowing me to live one of the most privileged lives that one can have. And that's, telling stories and, being able to live my life and feed my family. Telling stories, and I do it in film, I do it in television, I do it in theater, I do it in music, and people respond by participating. They go to the theater, they watch us on television, and they listen to our music and stuff. And all I can say is thank you, but I can't do that when I'm sitting in a restaurant, and they walk up and they go, hi.
Yeah. The timing is always, it's always perfect, isn't it? Right when,
We, as fans, we all have a pact to do just exactly.
No, I mean, everybody that comes up
until he
always,
gets the bike, that's it, yeah.
they always say,
Yeah.
always, I don't mean to bother you.
I hate to do this.
But, just thank you so much. And they're grateful. I mean, they're really people, it's fantastic. Here, it's unbelievable. Here, we see each other, we start to sit down and we talk to each other, and you guys talk to, you've been talking with anybody you want to talk to, and you walk up to them, and hopefully they're kind and nice and they're respectful, because we owe you our lives, period. That's a truth which you have to understand. Without an audience, I'm an actor all alone. Say that?
Right?
The doors.
And we both come from the theater, and so in a way, this is this century's stage door. You can still go to theater and still go to the stage door and get an autograph, but this has created that dynamic where like Eddie said, we have an opportunity to thank you for what is basically a shared experience, for you being touched or moved or entertained at the very least by something that we've done, and we have a moment to bond over that, and I think that's what I've really come to appreciate, about the conventions, and being able to hang out with buddies like this, that I may not see otherwise. So it's in totality, it's just a like you said, man, it's a love fest where everybody understands. The deal that we have. It's like, hi, we get to say hello. We get to see you. You get to see us. It's great. Don't feed the the actors, but keep your hands far away, because some of us do nip when we get afraid. But
approach slow with the back of your hand exposed. If your ears turn backwards,
that's not good.
Yeah.
I'm a cat daddy. I know all about that.
Oh yeah. So, I guess my question for the two of you, I know you've worked together in projects in the past. Did you know each other before you started working together?
The first time that I worked with Lou was, and I met Lou, was on our first show together, and it was the second film that he had done. The first one he had just finished, and he had worked with all the people that I had worked with on Zootsuit, and it was wonderful. And the guy who wrote Zootsuit wrote the film, and so basically.
It was an extended family like that. I mean, but I also did that television series that he was doing at the time, you know,
yes.
in Florida, in a very large city in Florida.
Southernmost.
Yeah.
Well, not southernmost.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's, you know, and then we knew that we had this connection to Danny and Luis Valdez, you know, and so in a way it was like family already. And this gentleman invited me to be in that first project, you know, gave me a phone number to call to Ramon Menendez, the director, and it's just been it was odd. And I have to say this. I said this a few times. First of all, being from Texas, you know, I had my head on my shoulders in a good way, in a military, you know, brat. You know, my dad was in the Navy, so you know, and I was taught some manners before I got to Hollywood, because I mean we see the cautionary tales all the time. I mean, was this something I said? Did I? Wow. It must be with the Army or Air Force or something. Did Navy offend you? Oh, you do have to eat, but you look great in that costume. I'll tell you that right now.
Can they come interrupt you while you're eating and say, sorry to bother?
We'll be at the Red Hot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Seems like you should have.
Now everybody knows about our liaison, so thanks. A little discretion would have been nice.
Seems
I
like
love y'all. Y'all are awesome.
not as awesome as food,
Yeah,
but
it's okay. But as I was saying, so I got to Hollywood, and you know, the first few films were amazing. But I think the thing that was most fortuitous for me as a young man, you know, coming out of nowhere, middle class kid, and you know, getting put into some, you know, amazing films, was that I got to meet people like Mr. Olmos here, and the Valdez brothers, and some people like that. You know, we talk about the political landscape now. You know, hanging out with people like Jackson Brown, you know, and Ed Harris, and a lot of those, Martin Sheen. You know, a lot of the people, I used to call us the usual suspects, because whenever somebody needed help with a charity or a cause or whatever, they called this group. And these were my inspirations. These were the guys I looked up to and that I emulated as I was out there in Hollywood. So, I mean, that kept me on the straight and narrow, and you know, kept my head on straight.
so can we talk about just a little bit what the feeling is like for the two of you to be kind of at the forefront of the representation of Latino culture in past projects. As I mentioned, there's two films that the two of you have worked on separately and one film together that are hugely important to a community like this. How do you feel like representation has either progressed or not progressed since the two of you made these films?
Yeah, I mean, you look back at it now, and it's interesting. I think people are aware of it. We were unicorns back in the day. You know, Latino movies had not made money. You know, and all of a sudden there was always this talk of, you know, the Latino wave is coming. You know, all these filmmakers are going to start, you know, making Latino stories. Well, it never really, you know, solidified. Eddie, you know, went on to do amazing work as you know, a director and writer and producer and whatnot. I think we've come a long way. I think there's still a long way to go. Both Eddie and I have served on the executive committee of the Academy, and we, you know, it's one of our missions to get, you know, parity, gender parity between men and women, and we manage that in the actors branch. We're almost at 50-50 now, but also representation across the board. These kind of movements did not exist when we were making those films in the 80s and 90s. And the fact that they broke through is a testament to not only how good they were, but how much heart and how much they touched people. And the fact that they hold up today. They hold up today. Both of those films, you know, are in the National Film Registry. You know, I mean, it's a part of our culture. It's a part of our fabric now, as Americans and as filmmakers and storytellers. But it's taken a couple of generations for people to get motivated and to get organized and to demand representation. where we have Latino faces and Asian faces and black faces, not only in front of the camera but behind, as directors, as writers, as producers, and we are continuing to widen those opportunities, for everyone, and to become aware of them. And that's, I mean, that's how you fix a problem. You have to be aware of the problem first. And, so many people in Hollywood and other places and other businesses were not aware of the disparity of opportunity. And that's what we're, it's our continual fight. And the beauty of it is that, him more than me, but, we're OGs in this fight, man. We were representing before representing was cool.
So, you kind of get the tenor of the conversation here. We will open it up to some questions, but remember, let's keep it kind of general. Again, just in support of the SAG struggle here for fair pay and that. So let's go. There you go, sir. Right there.
Hi, nice to talk to you. I'm Rick from San Antonio. You both have worked with incredible ensembles throughout your careers. Is there any set feeling that you get when you first started meeting with people when you're doing this big movie?
Yeah, he's asking. Sorry, the mic's not on. Yeah, he's asking about meeting the ensemble. What's working with other.
When you know you're with a really good cast.
Yeah, I think one of the blessings is communication, inspiration, and the incredible amount of strength that one gets when we have. I think I'm all right.
Was it cutting out?
No, it's me and my voice. I'm getting over throat cancer, and so my voice goes. It goes through a lot of trips, but I made it cancer-free. So. When you're making films and you run into people and you start to work together, it's fantastic. Sometimes, of course, there are people that don't want to be a part of an ensemble, so they don't make it, amenable for us to feel like an ensemble. That's their trip. But I really believe that this life is way too short. And if you don't really have a good time, like right now, you lost it. What are we doing? What are you doing? I'm having a great time. And working with ensembles is fantastic. Working with that concept of understanding that we're a family and we have a thing to do. There's no way that a film is made by just one person or one group of people. It takes from catering to the teamsters to all the electricians, all cinematographers, wardrobe, makeup, all the actors, all of the producers, everybody working in harmony. Really, it's so hard to make a good movie. It really is hard. You work your butt off and you end up not getting a good movie. It can become difficult, and you don't know it's not good because every daily you ever saw. I've never been in the dailies where they say, "Well, they were terrible." The dailies are, "Man, it was so good, whoa!" And everybody's, "Wow, they like the dailies." Now we don't even look at dailies anymore. It's really not. The system has changed so much. But in essence, working with people, this is the key. It's like doing plays and doing television, doing motion picture, doing theater. Is fantastically ensemble-ish and on all levels. So it's the key to existence. That's what I was saying before. We have to come to terms with the fact of using words like kindness, respect, love, friendship, more than the other. This is what makes us different. This is why we're not the same. I don't like this, I don't like that. Man, that is coming out of everybody. All of us. Using it all the time. You know what I learned? I just heard it the other day. I hate that. Are you kidding? No. And what else? Man, negative. And we have to come to the other side of this now. It's up to us to do it. We start with our own families, and we try to move forward. When you see something's going negative, that's their issue, that's their problem. Let them keep it. Don't wear it, don't marry it, don't use it. Don't move forward in that world unless you want to, because basically life is really short, guys. I'm telling you. I remember so well when he was a new kid on the block. We were laughing at that earlier today or yesterday. We were laughing at it. And I remember when I was the new kid on the block. Now I'm 76. I know I look good. But I gotta tell you, I am 76 years old. I'm 4 years outside of 80, man. Get a load of me. I said, what happened? Where'd it go? My goodness. But that's life. And next.
I don't know if it's on, but I want to thank y'all.
I'll get to it.
That's easy working. Oh,
There you go.
There you go. I want to thank you both because I am one of those Latino filmmakers that was inspired by everything y'all did in the 80s and 90s. I know we can't talk specifics, so is there anything from the time that y'all worked together on the first film that you would have wanted to see in the movie, or like a funny behind-the-scenes story that we didn't catch because the DVD doesn't have a lot of extras on it?
That's a good question. I mean, during the rehearsal period, and we had a rehearsal period, which was amazing. But that was Eddie's insistence, and that's what created that feeling of family and ensemble. And also, I mean, just Eddie's leadership. It created that relationship that he had to the students. And I thank goodness was I don't know how seasoned I was, but I had a number of films under my belt. I started doing small roles and whatnot in independent films and television in Dallas, which is where I got cast for that rock and roll film. The rehearsal was really important because a lot of the other actors had never done a film before, and this allowed them some great comfort to ease into it and to feel accepted and empowered by Eddie. I mean, he literally was the heart of it all, But I mean, for instance, Danny Villarreal, who played Chuco, he wasn't an actor. He was a production assistant on the film, and we were having a hard time casting that role, But Danny was the guy that taught me how to be a cholo. I mean, I've grown up in Corpus Christi, man. I didn't know I thought a cholo had cinnamon and sugar on it. Right? And so, Danny was the guy who put me in a car and drove me around East LA, man, and just taught me the life, showed me where things happened in his life, because he was the real deal. And it was Eddie who said, let him read. And it was, I think it shocked him too.
He was sweeping the floor.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
He was. We were in this like little part of like a gymnasium kind of auditorium-ish kind of place with no seats in it, and all the kids and all of us were there. We were doing the rehearsals, and it wasn't working, and everybody knew it wasn't working. When you know it's not working, and you continue to move forward, it's like the ultimate way of destroying. One, the moment, and two, the future. And so you have to really understand it and say, okay, we have to do something. We have to fix this. We have to find out what's happening here. So when I turned, we were right in the middle of a scene, and we were working together, and I said, man, this isn't working, guys. And the guy who was playing the role was standing right there. And that's like saying, okay, now, you know what? You, stop for a second. You, come here, because I saw him, and he was a kid from the neighborhood. He was from there, and I said, come over here. Had never done anything like this in his life. And he comes over quietly, but very respectful, but very intimidated and quiet and shy. And I said, this is what I need you to do. Look at these words here. And then just be with us right now. Just say those words as we're doing this right now. And he just started started to read. He went ahead and it was right after I'd given you the new signs, because the signs were not working either. So we had rewritten some stuff. And so he started to say the words, and man, it came to life in a second. Everybody said, okay, it works. This works. And so the guy who was in the part, who felt awkward in the part, turned around and said, wow, yeah, it does, man. Fantastic, man. Because he couldn't do it. It was not like he didn't want to do it. He couldn't do it because it was outside of his understanding. He was not advanced enough as a character actor to be able to summon that character without having done research for it. And so we didn't have time to let all the actors have research time. So we just got into it and started working right away. So Danny came in, and boy, he hit it out of the park. And he's the guy, that you saw in that movie that made you, man, he was a finger man. He was a finger man. He was the finger man. Oh, you're the finger man. I can do it. I know how to use my fingers too. I'm the finger man too. 9 times 3.
I still use that trick too.
Yeah, of course you still use it. If I would have known that when I was, 3 or 5 or 7 years old, I would have used it forever. I mean, you learn the 9s in a matter of seconds. I mean, without even thinking about it, you learn them like that. You say, oh my God, I know my 9s already. And multiplication, And so that being said, that it was a key to actually almost the whole film was finding that structure and finding the ability, and it inspired the other kids. They started to understand and say, wow. They felt it and they said, wow, now I understand. And they became, more reality came out of them because they were not actors either. And they were standing there scared in their own realm. But they saw how Danny came in and just did the truth. He did his truth. And his truth inside of what we were doing, because we were strong. We were not, we've studied the acting world. We had done research and done stuff, and he hadn't maybe done enough research yet, but he still had enough understanding of building character to allow himself to dive in full blast. And so it really worked really well. And the rest is history, because that movie, let me tell you, is to this day still being seen in schools all over America. Teachers use it, and it's one of the most viewed films in the history of film ever made. In the history of film, in 40 years, it's unprecedented.
Thank you. Answer, please.
So, speaking of food earlier, I wanted to ask, what is y'all's favorite food, especially when you come here to San Antonio?
I went to the University of Texas at Arlington, and I literally just had dinner last night with my best friend from junior high school, our love. I don't think I've ever had tamales better than I've had them right here in San Antonio. So that was always a special treat every Easter,
I was vegan for almost 10 years. And then, like I told you, I got cancer. And I had to go eat in the last 10 weeks, 2.5 months. My doctor said, you have to eat animal protein. Immediately start eating it, because your protein levels are off and your nutrient levels are off. And just for a little bit, and then you can go do whatever you need to do, but you gotta get there, because I lost so much weight. I was really, really sick, and it really was, God, in her ultimate wisdom, listen to me carefully, guys. Don't get caught, don't get caught, because, God's a woman. And people are saying right now, oh, Jesus, that it doesn't have nothing to do with sex. So get out. And as I got her ultimate wizard, decided to give me another little bit more time. And so anyway, I am eating now. And today, yesterday I ate at mi tierra. And I went there and see the Cortez family and all the people who've been there forever, since 41 is when that place opened. And I've been there forever. I've been many times to San Antonio. I did many films here. And but I had, yesterday I had menudo. I hadn't had menudo 10 years. Man, what a bowl of menudo I had. And my stomach felt it. I said, oh my God, wait a minute, this is too much. And so yeah, I mean, I love Mexican food, I love Japanese food, I love Italian food, I love Taiwanese food, I love Vietnamese food, I love Russian food, I love German food. I love food.
Yeah, the adjectives are necessary.
I love food. Good food. But I believe in veganism a lot. I don't like to eat animals. And, that's just me. Not for everybody, okay, but for me. I just feel it's better for my system. And it does. It works better. I can tell you the difference between going to the bathroom when you eat plants and going to the bathroom when you eat food. This is heavy duty. Let me explain this to you.
See, this is another reason why we need the strike resolved, so we can... You never thought you'd know Edward James Olmos' bathroom habits. You wanted to talk about movies, and this is what you get.
I'm not talking about
We need a fair deal now, damn it.
I'm talking about the smell.
By far, the most informative panel anyone's ever been to.
I would you not. No, I'm sorry. But no more about this.
Please, I hope yours isn't about digestion.
Yeah, is that about food now? Go ahead, you're next.
Hi, first of all, I have to say I really admire y'all. I grew up with y'all. I've seen all y'all's movies, and I'm like a big fanatic of y'all's. But I wanted to just ask y'all, was it very hard to get into all these characters y'all did with all y'all's different movies?
It's interesting because it's nice when folks come to the table and they look at all the pictures, they go, oh my gosh, this and that, I always credit, a theater background, because, first of all, studying and being, I didn't, get into this business by wearing a tight, t-shirt at the soda fountain, that's yeah, it didn't work. So I had to study and actually be good at it. But it's a theater background that, when you're in the academic world, or even in high school, I did a lot of high school theater as well. You learn how to build a character. And, you might be doing Shakespeare, 1 week and Mammoth the next, or improv, or, Moliere, so there are so many different types of roles. And I, from Jump Street, I always, considered myself a character actor. It was lovely to be a leading man, but, I figured being an actor of color, I was going to, be the supporting guy a lot of times. And so I learned to develop real characters, and you can't compare Angel to Richie or to Chavez. I mean, they're all three very, very, and I try to do that every single time I go out. But it's having learned the process of building a character, starting from the script stage, that allows you to, I think, do different work. I mean, in the film industry, there are a number of people who have become stars and who were stars that, they only ever did the same thing, but they did it incredibly well. People love John Wayne, they love Clint Eastwood, Stallone is Stallone, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, although some of his work where he stretched a bit was fantastic. But they are real movie stars who do one thing, and that's what people expect from them, I always, wanted to aspire to playing different characters and doing different things and making each one distinct and unique.
All right. Next, please.
Hi,
shape right there.
I'm kidding, he owns a radio station.
And I want to say, ¿Qué onda, Santana?
Órale.
Lou, hello, baby. In the movies you guys make, there's some realism, and there's some that are not. So what I want to say first for Lou, I got to hear it from the horse's mouth because there was an interview that you did back in the day in the rock and roll movie where you said you had the sick makeup on, and the sister came in. Can you elaborate a little bit? Or?
No, it is 100% a true story, and it's out there. It's been in a few interviews. Much like Escalante being there, I think every day. You know, the Valenzuela family was there on the set every single day when we were making that film. And Connie Jr., Irma, Mario. I'm still close to them. I'm still in touch with them. I was at Connie Sr.'s funeral. But the one day that Taylor Hackford cautioned them to not be on set was the day of getting on the plane. And I had the sick makeup on. Movie world, we're in Burbank, it's 80 degrees, and put down the snow and the ice, and had huge Ritter fans blowing fake snow. It was crazy, just crazy. But yeah, Connie showed up, and she had been calling me, the entire family had been calling me Richie from the beginning. They never called me Lou. And that night, Connie came up and she said, Lou, can I say something to you? And the key was, oh my gosh, she just called me Lou. What did I do? I did something, to tick her off, and so I did something wrong. And I said, well, yeah, of course, Connie. And I stood up. I was in the chair, and they were touching up the makeup because he had the fever at the time. And she literally, long story short, because it can get involved, but she literally fell into my arms, pounding my chest, saying, why did you go? Why did you have to go? She had been waiting 30 years to have that moment. 30 years for that catharsis and that closure. And it was, I'll never forget it. It showed me how real the entire process was for them.
And Mr. Olmos, for you, when making the movie, a gangster movie, my favorites, just like James Gandhi from The Sopranos came up, an actual monster came up to him and told him, hey, a Don doesn't wear shorts. In the movie, in the prison movie, how was it for you? Did somebody come up to you and give you some kind of advice like that?
No, there was, no one really knew what we were doing. Scenes, they were honest. And nobody, we were in prison. We were Folsom for 3 weeks. But it was, there was only 7 actors. And then the others were all convicts. And there was thousands in the movie. And saw the movie, saw them all around us, and they allowed us to use the experience, and they helped us. But we weren't doing anything that was, where we would say that isn't how you do that. It was if you watch the movie, it was just we were talking on the school, on the grounds, and no, but we had no issues like that. Thank God.
Just real quick, if you decide to go to Tampa, Florida, where I'm originally from, you need to visit El Cap off of Bayshore and Sardo's Pizza.
I will do that. I tell you. I hope I'm eating cheese by then.
From La Primera.
La primera vez.
All right, this is going to have to be our last question because we're out of time. So, sorry.
Hi, first, I love y'all both in y'all's movies. I've been watching you since I was a kid, and I absolutely adore it. There's a question for each of you. In the sci-fi movie shows that you did, Battlestar Galactica and Stargate, what was your favorite
So let me just say, doing sci-fi stuff, the conventions are hilarious to me because I get these questions and I'm like, I have no freaking clue. You know, I mean, well, when you did the quark and the thing and the whatchamajiggy dig and you know, and I'm like, you lost me, man. I learned the lines and I look like I know what I'm doing, but you know, I don't know the science behind this at all. You know, and so no matter what this, and I've done a couple of science fiction projects, there is a huge amount of trust. Because you're doing stuff in front of a green screen or a blue screen or whatever, you know, the color happens to be, and they're saying, okay, they describe to you what you're looking at, what you're seeing, and what's going to happen, and you just have to trust that it's going to look okay, and that you're not going to look like an idiot when you know they did the special effects with crayons. You know what I mean? So, but it is in some ways a very pure form of acting because you got to commit. You got to commit to the bit, you know? Oh, God, a massive asteroid coming at me! You know, and then you see it and you go, God damn, you overacted, you know? It's this big, it's the size of a Volkswagen. Why? You know, so you really, you got to have to jump in with both feet and just embrace the genre, you know?
That is awesome. Thank y'all again. Y'all are amazing. And yours?
Bless your hearts.
All right, thanks everyone. Again, let's hear it for Lou Diamond Phillips and James Olmos. Go see you.
Come by the where we're stationed out there